Hey guys, and welcome back to another round of War Robots with Pendous. So I thought what we would do today is actually do a test server recap. So we're going to talk, I'd like to talk mostly about the machine guns and the upgrades and improvements to them. We're also going to talk a little bit more just about the new heavy weapon prototype. You see how quickly all of those guys over there with their prototypes were able to chew through my Lancelot. So, one thing that I really like about the new heavy weapon is just the new dynamic that it adds to ranged weapons. But as I stated before, I really don't think the game needs any more ranged weapons. If especially in the heavy weapon category, if you think about it, there are already 6 mid-range or mid to long-range weapons in the heavy weapon category, and then there's 1 defensive item. And then there's the Thunder, which is the only short or short to mid-range weapon. So I really wish, I understand this is supposed to be a heavy version of the AC Mullet, but I think that it probably ought to be a heavy version of the Gal Punisher, or even if they keep everything else the same, if they drop the range on it, I say that they could keep the damage at the same exact spot. I just don't think that we need any more weapons in that category because of what it'll do to the game, especially one like this where it is more interactive instead of, you know, standing there and just firing a couple rounds, that like the Trident or like the Zeus, like it's like zap, wait a few seconds, zap. With this, it's more interactive, so I just think it'll make camping way too fun. I guess is what I'm trying to say. And if they do decide to keep it, because of its high damage and its range, I think it's just too powerful. I think that one of the things needs to be nerfed to be able to make it happen. So, anyways, that's kind of my final thoughts on this weapon. I do think, yeah, they definitely need to make the model on it a lot bigger as well. It's just incredibly small and it looks kind of goofy on a lot of different bots. Sorry, I had to yawn there. But anyways, so we'll go ahead here and jump into another bot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into my Griffin here, and with the Punishers on it, I really had a lot of fun with this setup during this test server. So you'll see there the speeding up of it is really effective. It's a really efficient way to bring the damage back. So normally with the Punishers it takes about 20 seconds to unload a full clip. So I'm moving over here behind cover because I've got a little bit longer of a reload. So one thing that I'll do when I'm playing, and this is something that you guys should give it a shot and try doing as well, is when you want someone to come out from behind cover, just pretend like you're moving away, like face the other direction and move away, even if you have no intention of actually leaving them or turning your back to them, because a lot of times that'll draw them out of cover. But anyways, with the Punishers, their time with this firing mechanic is decreased to be able to unload an entire clip from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. So that's a 20% increase in speed, which is pretty solid. And I think that really makes a big difference in making these more usable, because 20 seconds is just a lot of time. That brings it more on par with other things. If they made it even faster than that, it'd be kind of ridiculous, because if you think about it, with the Punishers, they already put out about I think it's more than 400,000 damage per clip, and that's assuming that every bullet contacts. But if you're within like 200 yards of another bot, like right here, there's really like no bullets that are missing. So it's there's really no reason for it to do any more damage more quickly than that. So I think that firing mechanic really brings a lot more to the table here. And you see with these 800 meter range weapons, I'm able to start firing pretty much from spawn with this Leo. And like I said before, with the damage on what the prototype can already do, I think that something needs to be nerfed a little bit. If they had put this out prior to putting out more prior to putting out more long-range weapons, I think I would be singing a little bit different of a tune, but since there's already so many long-range weapons and there's only one short-range heavy weapon, I really just think they need to make this a short-range, either a short-range heavy version of the Mulot, or make it a heavy version of the Gal Punisher. So let me know what you guys think below. I'm actually really interested to hear what you guys have to say. I love hearing your feedback. You guys, I really appreciate the interactive nature that we've been able to build here and everything, and I really appreciate the support. I was looking at the stats for the channel last night right before I went to bed, and we were at 250 subscribers, and I just announced that we had 200 subscribers like 2 days ago. So you guys are totally killing it, and like I said, I really appreciate you. And all the amazing comments that you leave, and all the tips and tricks that you leave, and everything like that. So I'd love your feedback on what you thought about the test server, or think about the heavy prototype, and about the machine guns and stuff. So you see here, I'm running forward with this. I didn't just glitch out onto the wall or anything like that. I'm actually running forward to make sure that my bottom Punisher makes it over top of that wall right there, rather than firing into it. So that's a trick that we've talked about, like on the power plant map. You can fire over cover on several of the spots on the map if you keep walking forward, like over to where that beacon is that's in the sand, that lower beacon that's hard to get back from unless you have a jumping bot. With that one, if you need to fire over the top of those like big propane tanks or whatever they are, walking forward helps to get your weapons up and over top of that, like if you're in a Rhino or a Griffin or something like that. So something to keep in mind when you guys are playing. So here, I'm able to move in and take the center beacon with the Galahad, which is pretty awesome because I had that shield to cover me a little bit, and then because of that Fury's huge surface area, I'm actually able to do quite a bit of damage, even just with that last remaining one Punisher. We had two there for a second, but and then the Carnage, like I said, on Saturday when I was doing the video covering just this weapon, I really liked having the Carnage set up with this, especially during the test server because of its Ansel shield, which was able to eat a lot of that physical damage that these ballistic weapons are doing. So that was kind of nice just during the test server, but I also appreciate the speed and maneuverability that comes because of this. And I also realized that on the test server, or on that video the other day, I accidentally miscalculated the DPS. I don't think anybody mentioned it, but when I was rewatching the video just to make sure I didn't say or do anything stupid on it, I realized that I put the reload time at 10 seconds instead of 12 seconds. So that does affect the DPS a little bit. I think that drops it down to about 80,000 rather than 84,000, which I had calculated it out to. So you see there, I was actually using the target switching, and if I just didn't use that at all, if I had just gotten rid of that targeting reticle and stuff, the new targeting system would have actually targeted onto this Rhino right here. So I really like the new system. If you guys weren't aware, what the new system does with targeting is it brings it prioritizes the targets that are closer to you. So what it will do is, instead of locking on to the guy that's like 1,000 meters away but like right where your crosshairs are, it'll prioritize the target that's right in front of you, which probably will save your bot most of the time. A lot of people don't like the mechanic, and I don't know if it's because they just don't understand it or because they're just used to the other one, but obviously new things take getting used to, especially something like targeting, because that's like what you do the entire game, which I understand, but I really like the new targeting system. If you think about it, it's a really good revision to the system, really good changes I think that they made there. So you see there, instead of flipping to the target that was like directly in front of the crosshairs, it flipped to the target that was really close to me, which makes targeting a lot easier. And then I'll just hit the lock button to make sure that it stays on that target as I'm moving around. Because I like to, like we've talked about before, I like to stay mobile. But these Punishers on the Galahad, I really liked that setup. It was a lot of fun, and I put this clip in here for you guys because this Galahad lasted for several minutes and was able to do a lot of damage. And like we talked about before, the damage output on this many Punishers is very high. So if it was on a Griffin and you were fully loaded out with Punishers, it'd be over 400,000 damage per clip, considering all of the Punishers together. On the Galahad, obviously it's not 400,000, but it's like 300,000. So it's just a huge, a massive amount of damage that it's able to put out. Especially when you're in closer range. But I also love being able to have that 500 meters to work with. So like from here, I'm already able to start firing upon that guy. Obviously not hitting him with everything, but no matter where he moves, even if he's dodging back and forth because of the bullet spread, he's pretty much still getting hit. So you see there, I dropped my shield and turned to the side. I wanted to come down here anyways, but to eat some of that damage while I was walking the other direction and still firing, I just dropped my shield so that it covered me from my left so that I could walk forward. So anyways, and yeah, let me know what you guys think about the new weapon, also about the machine guns, and also about the targeting system. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say and what you think about it. And let me know what you think about the video. If you guys like these test server recaps, I think it'll be something that we will go forward with in the future. If it's not something that you like, then we'll just go ahead and skip it in the future. We won't do these anymore. So I was getting shot at by that Leo. If I had just turned around first, because I knew he was shooting at me right away, but if I just turned around first, it would have been much better. But anyways, great.